What's up my wild ones, welcome back to a new video. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Starren. I'm an ecologist and herpetologist and I love reptiles. So if you also love reptiles and if you love seeing reptile related content, please subscribe to my channel. In today's video, I am back at Renzo's and Talitha's place.
Hi!
Hi.
Thank you so much for having me again, that's so cool. Because they have actually quite a large collection and I definitely wasn't done here. I know that they have a lot of pit vipers and that's what this video is about. Now the group of pit vipers is actually really large. It's a subsection within the venomous snakes. There's about 18 genera there with over 150 species. So there's a lot of different pit vipers and today you're going to meet 5 of those species because they keep them here, which is absolutely amazing. So obviously you have a love for pit vipers. And how did you decide which ones you were going to keep? Because there are so many of them.
Yeah, they're all beautiful, but they are the most beautiful, I guess.
So yeah, this is durable for him to keep, and I think that you in the beginning, you weren't too comfortable with it.
No, not with the venomous snakes.
No, and now she already handled the Sri Lankan Pit Viper, which we are also going to meet in a couple of minutes. So now do you also take care of them? Do you also water them sometimes? Are you comfortable with that? Or?
Yes, we do it together.
They do it all together, that's so awesome. So within the pit vipers there is a lot of variety. You have a very small hub-nosed pit viper until the bushmaster. You find there the rattlesnakes, the moccasins, the copperheads, your Asian tree pit vipers. So that's what I find extremely fascinating about pit vipers, is that they are there's so much variety in there. You have your true arboreals, your terrestrials. Color variation is amazing, even within a single species, which we're going to see with the eyelash viper, for instance. There's so much variation within these species and within this group of the pit vipers. One thing that they have in common, though, is that they have heat pits, heat sensing organs. And even though the boas and the pythons, some of them have that as well, within the pit vipers, this is much more advanced. So the pit vipers can detect such small temperature differences, which makes it for them very easy to hunt. For instance, at night, they literally can see heat. So if they want to, for instance, catch a mouse or something, they just sit and wait, because most of them are sit and wait predators, and they can literally see the heat source, which is the mouse coming by, and then they can grab it and eat it. So that's one thing that I have in common. They also have very long solenoglifous fangs, and most of them have a hemotoxic, cytotoxic venom. But other than that, there's lots of differences, which is why I want to show you 5 different species today. Let's go! So guys, this is the first pit viper of today. This is the Sri Lankan Pit Viper, and as the name suggests, it is native to Sri Lanka. It is an absolutely stunning species that doesn't grow really that large, but as with a lot of pit viper species, the females get quite a bit larger than the males. So the females can get around 130 centimeters, yes. And the males, they will stay around 70 to 80 centimeters, this is a male. It's not fully grown yet, but it's getting there. And as you can see, one of the things that is so stunning about them is their blue coloration with a nice blotches pattern on their back. Another difference between the males and the females is that the males will stay a more bluish color, whereas the females will become a little bit more greenish. Now, they are venomous. They have a hemotoxic venom that will affect your blood, but usually they are not deadly. That does not mean that you don't have to be careful, because if you do get bitten, it's definitely not a very nice experience. But if you are into pit vipers, I do think this would be a cool species to start with. What do you think?
Yeah, they're very calm. Yeah, it's my first species, venomous species.
So as Renzo says, they are quite calm. That's also one of the things that is actually a little bit hard when it comes to pit vipers, because yes, they are calm and they look very slow. Oh, this is interesting. But don't be fooled, because they might look sluggish, but they are not when they want to strike. They can be incredibly fast when they strike. Now, these species are exclusively arboreal, which means they live in the trees, and they will hunt at night, and they will eat a variety of different animal species. And that's where those heat pits come in place, because if they want to eat at night, they literally see the heat of their prey and they can attack with their long fangs, inject the venom precisely. They have beautiful muscles around those venom glands to precisely inject the prey with a nice amount of venom. I am in love with this beautiful species. I love the coloration, I love the chunky head on those, which is also very typical for pit vipers. They're just absolutely awesome. Do you have any tips for someone who wants to start keeping these?
Don't keep your hands close to the animal.
Stay away from the sharp end. That's what we always say. So that was number 1 of today, the Sri Lankan Pit Viper. Let's meet the rest of the family. So guys, number 2 of today, the second pit viper that I wanted to show you so bad. It's a first for me, my first copperhead. This is the broad-banded copperhead, to be precise. There are several subspecies of this copperhead. They are native to the south of the United States, and they are actually venomous, so of course we have to be quite careful when handling these. Now, like I said, there are several subspecies and their coloration can vary greatly. This one is really specific because it has like the nice sandy color as a base color with the nice dark bands across. What is also really cool about this species is that it has caudal luring. So when they're young, have a very cool tail tip, as you can see with this one already, although it's already starting to fade a little bit. So their tail tip is a very bright color and they can mimic the movements of a little worm. Basically, a prey item will think, oh, I have found a nice meal, and then you're dead. So that's pretty cool that they use that. But as they grow older, a bright color on the tail will fade away, as will that behavior. They won't do it that often anymore when they are grown. It's a venomous snake, although not many people really die from it as far as I'm aware. But still, you would definitely need medical attention if you want to, if you are getting bitten by the species. Another thing that is different with the pit viper that you just met, with the Sri Lankan pit viper, is that this pit viper actually lives on the ground. It does not really climb. It really finds its way on the ground. It's a true ambush predator, so it will sit and wait. You can literally not distinguish it when it's found, when it's laying on the ground. It looks exactly like the leaves on the ground, so you definitely won't see it. And that's the same for the prey item that will just walk by and think that there is nothing going wrong, and then you're dead. So that's how that goes with this beautiful, beautiful copperhead. I think they're absolutely stunning. Do you have any other cool facts about this snake?
No, you have to pretty much everything tell.
This, for me, like I said, this is a first. I've never handled a copperhead. I know that in America they are quite notorious and people like to kill them on sight. Yeah. And that's something that I want to address, because obviously America has quite a large number of venomous snake species, and people in general don't really like them. But if you attempt to kill a snake, or if you succeed in doing so, you're actually putting yourself in danger. Many of the bites that happen when people try to kill the snake. So it's so much better to just leave them alone. And they are a very helpful pest control. They will eat your rodents that can become a pest around your house. If you do feel very uncomfortable with a venomous snake around your house, please call someone. Just call someone who knows what they're doing, who is a snake expert, and who can safely relocate that animal, and you're fine. But please, please do not attempt to kill these beautiful animals. They don't deserve that. You also don't deserve to get bitten. So please don't do that. I'm so happy that I can show you this beautiful copperhead. We've actually another species in the same genus for you today, which will be number 3. But for so far, this is the broad-banded copperhead. So guys, the third pit viper of today, it's actually in the same genus as the snake that you just saw, as the copperhead. This is Taylor's cantle. It's named after a herpetologist, Taylor. That's the scientific name of this snake. And I love the colors on this snake. If you look at the head and the nice line that is running from the nose to the back of the cheeks, everything about the snake is just so beautiful. It's got the same trick that the other copperhead also had with the caudal luring, which they use to attract prey, which is so cool. This snake actually is native to Mexico. And other than the copperhead that you just saw that is already quite venomous, this snake is much more venomous. If you get bitten by this, it's actually quite serious. Even though their behavior is not too hectic, I would definitely not suggest for you to get this snake if you have never owned a venomous snake before. Because if you do get bitten by this snake species, you have a serious problem, so please consider that. Like the copperhead that you just saw, this is also a terrestrial species, which is also why we are down on the floor filming this animal. The reason for this is that they do not really lay on the hook very well. And this is because they haven't really developed the muscles to hold on like the arboreal viper, the Lankan Pit Viper that you saw in the beginning of this video. That snake is made to live in the trees. He can really easily wrap himself around the branches and he has muscles to do so. That's very different with this species that is just made to live on the forest floor. So that's why it's nice to have 2 hooks present to handle this beautiful species. And if you stay calm, actually it's quite okay. I expected much worse because you said they can be
sometimes predictive, like botrops, yes.
And can you explain to people who don't understand what?
Botrops, they can jump around your knees, your hip. It's quite dangerous, yeah.
Because that's a thing with pit vipers that you have to take into consideration, is they may look sluggish, but they can attack, they can strike so incredibly fast. But I absolutely love this species. I hope you can see the coloration on camera. It's got really beautiful bending, and like I said, I especially love the head of this species. It is absolutely stunning. It actually resembles a leaf. The top of the head, it just completely will disappear on the floor, and that's just very easy for a species that likes to ambush their prey. So this is Taylor's cantle. So guys, the 4th pit viper of today, without a doubt one of the most beautiful snake species on this entire planet. I know of very few species that, come close to this species for many different reasons. This is the eyelash viper. It is native to Central and South America, and it is just absolutely stunning. A cool fact about these snakes actually is that they come in various colors. So you have this very bright yellow girl right here, but they can also be green, they can be red, they can be brownish. I've even seen like almost white ones. So that is pretty cool about those. As I said, there's lots of variation in the pit vipers, even within a single species. And of course, the most striking feature of this pit viper are the eyelashes. I hope you can see it on camera because she's still quite tiny. She's really tiny. But she has on top of her eyes, basically, she has little protrusions that look like eyelashes. And the reason why she has these is because, unlike the copperhead that we just saw in the Taylor's cantle, this species actually lives up in the trees. And to make sure that her silhouette is kind of broken up and hard to recognize in the trees, she has these little eyelashes that really help her with the camouflage, so that her prey items won't really notice her that fast, but also her enemies, because these snakes also get eaten by other animals. So that is a very cool thing about this beautiful, beautiful species. They are actually quite venomous. They can kill a human. So this is also a species that you really have to handle with care. If you do get bitten by the species, you need medical attention immediately. Another cool fact that I read somewhere is that in South America there is this myth. And the myth is that before striking, this species will blink at you. That's funny. Usually there is like truth to myth somewhere. In this case there isn't. Why? Snakes physically cannot blink. They don't have eyelids that they can move. It makes them different from, for instance, lizards who can close their eyes. Snakes don't have moving eyelids, so therefore they could never blink, and therefore they will not blink at you before striking. If they want to strike, they're gonna strike. So don't wait for a blink, you guys. Other than that, every time I see them, I am just so in love. I think they are absolutely stunning. One of the most beautiful pit vipers, one of the most beautiful snakes in the world that are just, I don't know, they're just amazing. And one cool thing about this lady right here is usually they have some blotching, some pattern, like little dots on their body. This one doesn't really. She's quite uniform in color, which I think looks pretty cool. How old is she?
2 years, almost 2 years.
2 years,
Yeah,
it's still
small
quite
growing.
tiny.
Yeah, it's not a big problem that she is this small to feed less than.
No, actually I think it's quite good.
Yeah.
She looks really healthy. She just doesn't look skinny at all, so that's a good thing. I'm so jealous of their lashes. I wish I had them. Let's go to the last pit viper species of today. So guys, let's finish off this pit viper video with a rattlesnake. Of course, a rattlesnake had to be in this video because they are among the coolest pit viper species on the planet. There's actually many species of rattlesnake, and this specific species is the rock rattlesnake, and this one is native to Mexico. It's the Tamaulipan. I cannot pronounce that in English. It's somewhere in Mexico if you want to know. And this is a tiny baby, and my mommy heart is just exploding because I love baby snakes. And this one is so tiny, and it was just rattling 1 second ago, and I swear it sounded like a little bee. It's just absolutely so cute. As I said, this is a baby. They do get a little bit bigger than this. They get around 80 centimeters, but really not much larger than that. The reason why they are called a rock rattlesnake is because that is their favorite habitat. That is where these beautiful little rattlesnakes live. And what's really cool is that they have a coloration that completely matches the rocks. So sometimes in lower altitudes the rock coloration is different from higher up. And then you will also find different colors of rock rattlesnakes, which is pretty awesome. Like the other rattlesnakes, this is definitely quite a venomous species. You don't want to get bitten by. They have very long solenoglifous fangs, which they use to inject their venom. But in the wild, they just don't want to be around people. They will rattle in advance before going to bite you. So their rattle is really their warning mechanism. It's saying, I'm sitting here, can you please walk the other way, don't step on me. That's basically what their rattle is for. As they get older, with every shed they get a little segment on top of the other segment, so the rattle really grows. Although it's not a measure to check how old they are, what their age is. Why? Because the rattle can easily break off when an animal steps on it or when it gets stuck. It's like our nails and our hair. It can just fall off and it will just keep on growing with every shed. I think they're just absolutely stunning. And I think this is a beautiful species to end this pit viper video with. So guys, this is the end of the pit viper video. I hope you enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed making it because pit vipers are awesome and I love these people. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to let me know what do you think was the coolest pit viper species in this video. Do you keep any pit vipers? I would love to know. Thank you, Renzo, so much for having me. Talitha as well. She's got something to say. Bye! Bye bye, see you on the next one.